It's June 10th, 2020. This is operations test number 1 of the equipment for Eddie Ray. I have the blower vac system out here. This is where I'm going to start with the testing. So I'm going to start, we're using the hose here in place of what would be your pressure washer, just because it's easier. Don't have to bring the pressure washer out here, don't have to run that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill the system as if it were vacuuming. You're going to see how it functions without the vacuum running, and then I'm going to actually run the vacuum here, and we're going to simulate the function with the vacuum running. I am also running the pumps via an extension cord instead of the generator here, just so there's even less noise. So assuming this is running, we've got our vacuum hose hooked up here. We're sucking water through the primary interceptor drum. It's coming into the secondary interceptor drum, which is what I'm going to simulate here for you now. And you will see what happens when this starts to fill up. It will actually kick this pump on as the level comes up, and it will pump out of the discharge port over here. So we're going to go ahead and start filling this up now, and you will just see how it works. I'm also going to, once we see this work a couple times, I'm going to unplug that pump to simulate a pump failure, and I will start the blower up, and you can see how the high level float over here will come up, and it will stop the blower, which will stop any more water from getting in here, which in turn stops any water from making its way into the blower assembly. So we're just going to fill this up real quick right here. Kind of got to stay a little ways away from it. Remember, there's a port that is drilled into the I'm sorry, it's right here, elbow here. This needs to be clear at all times, and the check valve needs to be operational at all times as well. Otherwise this will not pump out when it's under vacuum. So we're coming up here. It's a little hard for you to tell. There's a float on the back of the pump there that's going to rise up. You'll see water come shooting out of that little hole that's drilled in the elbow there, and you'll know the pump's on then. It might get us a little wet. And then we'll see water coming out of the hose over here on the discharge port. So again, I'm just using water here to simulate that the vacuum is running, bringing water through the system, which we will operate here in a little bit. Once it pumps the water down, the pump shuts off. You'll see the levels going back down. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the cover on here. I'm sorry. And then, so we don't have to worry about getting splashed in the face. Excuse me. Now again, when you get this, there will be ratchet straps to hold the tops down and hold the drums in place in your vehicle. So I know it's going to be kind of hard to see there, but that has some water in there, and I got a leak. I don't have that tight enough. Again, it pumped the level down. When you get these, you're going to want to tighten these. Yeah, just hand tight. There's a small O-ring in here that seals. Do not try to tighten them with a tool. So we'll go ahead and do that one more time. Now when the vacuum is running, there's going to be a vacuum on that check valve. That seat on that check valve will actually be closed by the vacuum. And again, to regulate that pressure in between those two and the end of the pump, we have that little hole drilled in the elbow. If that seal fails there or that hole gets plugged, this will fail to pump under vacuum. You have to shut the vacuum down, which will relieve the vacuum and allow that pump to kick on. And then from there, you need to either repair your check valve or make sure that hole So you can see with the level as it rises and falls in here, the pump comes on and off via the float. So we'll go ahead and we'll test this other one on the other side real quick. And then I'm actually going to fire up the blower there so I can show you how the high level floats work in case we have a pump failure. So that's all we're going to do. We're going to simulate a pump failure. You'll see here I got everything's exactly the same. Make sure these are tight so we don't get a leak like we had on the other one. See the water levels coming up, floats coming up on the pump. It's going to kick on in a few seconds here. You see the level going down, pump's off. So the pump's never going to run all the time. It's coming on and off as the level rises and falls in the system. The vacuum, like I said, it will not create a perfect vacuum. So you're never going to be at the point where this thing's so full of water that it's running all the time. It's going to be on and off, on and off, on and off. You see the water levels coming back up. So once it gets up, I'm actually going to shut this off and we will show you, we'll demonstrate a pump failure. You see the level going down there? So the level's going down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the pumps. This is going to simulate a pump failure. What happens when the pump fails? The high level float will come up right here. This will rise and it will kick in the low oil circuit on the blower here, which will cause the blower to stop. So this is going to get a little noisy here. It's not too bad, but just letting you know. So now I pulled the power off the pump so I can simulate a failure at the pump. We're just gonna fill this thingy up here until this blue float comes up and it will shut the machine down. See the blue floats rising. Again, that's the high level shutoff. that level's come up. So again, this is tied in with the low oil circuit. So now this is fooling the machine into thinking that the oil level is low. It needs to shut the machine down. This lets your operator know, hey, I'm not getting any more vacuum. There's a problem with the system. I need to go check it out. Now, this will not start until this level is pumped down in the machine, or sorry, in the drum here. So I'm going to show you just what it does. It thinks it's got a low oil level because this floats up. We're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna plug this back in, we'll drain this back down, and you can watch me start the machine again. And the machine will start. Okay, now we've got that one done. We're going to come over here and we're going to test the other one. Do the same thing we just did. See the water levels rising. Actually, let me put it on this side so you see that float. Real simple, real easy. And we've reached our high level point. Now, again, remember, if this happens, come over here, turn your ignition switch to the off position to make sure that that doesn't get left on and drain the battery. So we'll go ahead and we'll pump this down now. And then we're gonna take a little break. Okay. And you can see we've pumped our level down and we're good to go. So I'm gonna take a little break here and I'll be back in a couple minutes.